Okay. Uh, French film is releasing in Australian cinemas on July 6th, a really sensitively produced film called Other People's Children. And it's my pleasure to be talking to the writer-director of Other People's Children, Rebecca Zlotowski. Rebecca, welcome to Movie
Hello.
Metropolis.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
So nice to talk to you. And I was so impressed by this film. And I get the feeling this was a very personal film in many
Mm.
respects for you.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I cannot not say that how much autobiographical the film is in a way. I've been stuck we all were stuck in our like domestic lives, during the pandemic. And usually it's not my method to be autobiographical with films because I'm shy and because also sometimes we feel that, women's subject and like when it's too close to you it feels like it's not as interesting than looking at others. But during the pandemic I was just in front of my mirror, and then I noticed that as well there was like one character that could be you know easy to be watched at this moment. It was me, and I was experiencing that. I was a stepmom, and I was entering my 40s, and I wanted to have children, and I didn't have any. And I felt that maybe this is a subject, maybe it's time to for the industry and for everyone to notice that it's not just like a feminine minor subject, but it can create like huge romanesque tools, huge romanesque scenes. And I decided to watch, around me if cinema had represented it in a way, because like to help me, survive this moment. And I noticed that it was not done, or it was done like in a secondary character, or it was like very archetypal. And I decided to make the film that I wanted to see. I needed to see.
Well, congratulations on that, because it is, as I said, such a finely observed film. How difficult was it for you to construct the screenplay? Because there are lots of nuances and carefully developed moments in the film.
I think, like, yeah, I mean, you nailed it. You nailed it. It's just that when you have such like a very strong autobiographical, material, it's very difficult like to uh, find the cinema subject behind it. And it's very difficult like just to make it not a chronicle, not just like here is the situation and I want like and in another hand, not to create fake artificial twist plots that would not be necessary, and that would just like heaven the film. I would say that as soon as I understood that the subject of the film would be to take a character from a secondary character to a protagonist, it became a film. And I would say that I wanted to have 1 year in the life of this woman, one very, very specific year that would be very, meaningful because it's the end of the fertility. And this year would be a different vision of the time. This year would be the possibility to have something, but also the end of a chapter in her life. And I created the film like very simply, very basically, with the passing by of 4 seasons. And that's the reason why the film happens in a synagogue for the Kippur moment. And like when you're like from Jewish culture, it's just like the beginning of the year with a very strong issue about transmission, about forgiveness, about all those like very heavy things that are involved into the desire maybe to become like a parent and the transmission thing. And it ends with the last year of in the synagogue with a very cute meet that I was like, I would never know that I would be able to do that and that I would like dare to do that, but I did. So I'm sorry, there's so much sun here. I know I'm just like bragging because I know it's winter for you.
Yes.
But anyway,
Okay. No,
so I
yep.
created like, yes, like as a time, as the different way to look at the time and a different way to look at a love encounter within a year.
Okay. I love that Jewish connection as well. I'm Jewish myself, so I found that really interesting to see that that's a seasonal sort of aspect, and how
Mhm.
you go from one aspect to another over a period of time, and you reach some sort of crossroads and understanding in your life.
Yeah, and also like the question, because we can talk, there's several layers in the film, and I'm not like shy to say that there's definitely societal, topics in the films that would be the step motherhood, and what is it to have like, a very like mixed families that now are, have new patterns, and that we should like all, think that it's something that surrounds us, and maybe cinema could be helpful in those ways. But the judaity is interesting to me because it's not about the craving, the biological craving for maternity that was interesting me, because I never experienced it. It's the matter of the transmission that was the reason for me why women like I am at the age I am and experiencing are so scared about the end of the fertility, because it creates like a metaphysical uh, crisis for
Mm.
people. I mean, it would be like for everyone, it's just something that fades, and this fading is such a strong like cinematic material. It's just something that you experience in the body that would say, hey, you feel it's the beginning of something, you're 41 or 42, you're just like in the beginning of a whole amazing moment in your life, love wise, professionally wise and stuff, but it's already the end of something, and the end of the possibility to transmit to someone who would be like your own blood and flesh. So yeah, it interested me in a metaphysical level, and that's the reason why probably Fred Wiseman, who's an amazing, as you know, documentarist, like who documented all the American
Yeah,
institutions, like since day one, he's invited like as a cameo as a gynecologist in the film,
yeah,
and he's so funny to have accepted that. But I really wanted to have this very wise, old ISIM person. I'm not even sure that he was allowed, to practice as a doctor if it's been like in the real life, but that he would be, the kind of person who says like metaphysical truth in the center of the film, and I wanted that.
well, I'm really happy that you did that because it was so nice to see Frederick Wiseman in the film. I thought, oh,
He's such a good and comic actor. He's such a good and comic actor.
he is. Now, I also must commend you on the rest of the casting. I mean, Virginie Efira is such a superb actress, and was she your first choice for the role?
I think I had, it's been like it's my fifth film, and I'm not writing for actors or actresses anymore, because I feel that when you do like a sur mesure, like a haute couture thing, and if they say no, you feel so orphan at the end. So I'm not, doing that. But I must say that I had her prosody, I had the way she talks in the film, and sometimes I would write, thinking of the way she speaks, the way she behaves, the way she walks. Also, there's something like very strong about her, is that as an actress, she emerged in her 40s. She's not been like, this romantic premiere, as we say,
Mm.
in her 20s, and being like in a second part of her career. No, she emerged at 40 years old for cinema to cinema with all the Benedetta, the Verhoeven, Justine Trier's films that like filmed her like so perfectly, and brought us to the brought us to the audience, brought her to the audience. The thing with Virginie Efira that was like that made her the perfect match for this cast, the part, was that she's so fulfilled. There's nothing about frustration when you look at her. Come on, she's so glamorous, she's so sexy, she's full of libido, she's full of humor, she's full, like she has like a full life. And I wanted for this character that is like usually depicted as someone who's in the frustration, uh, the pain, the perversity. Sometimes when you look at the erotic thrillers from the 90s, a woman who has no children, she's weird. There's something deviant about her. There's something marginalized. She may be too pushy for the profession. She must be too pushy for the libido. There's always something slightly off. With Virginie Fira, it's just about being like someone who you want to look like.
Mm.
And I needed this fulfillment in the beginning of the film, maybe to say that even if you're like that, there's a certain moment where you can be in pain not to have children. You can be in pain just to close this chapter in your life. So, and I think also she's amazingly beautiful. She's just someone that, you can't, and she has like this comic talent, like when she's fully naked on a balcony, stuck on a balcony in the winter. She's the only kind of actress. She's the only actress in France that could pulls out this kind of scene, being so funny and
Mm.
still like gorgeous. So yeah, I really loved working with her.
I can understand that, and she is so subtle with her expressions. I mean, she can be sad and be upset, but she's very careful in the way she expresses that, and that subtlety is what the camera picks up, and you picked up in the film.
I think she has like such a strong, as I told you, she when I say she emerged in her 40s, it's because she had an ancient life before. Before being an actress, she was working for television, and then she was working for those TV, very mainstream like programs, and then she entered like commercial like cinema. She's been passing by through a lot of worlds. And so I think that one of the most interesting qualities, like for an actor or an actress, is the ability of observation, the capacity of to observe and to be very analytic about what she looked at. And we can tell, like with the subtlety of her impersonation, that she's been through a lot. And I loved this past world in a character. I loved to film that in the body and the face and of someone, because I do not like virgins. I do not like first times. I like when we see at each other's the weight of the lives we have. And I feel that Virginie Efira pulls out like in a perfect way, because she's still so candid and innocent, but she's never like um, cheesy in the way she discovers things for the first time. I don't know if it makes sense, but you'll see that in the film for those who are going to see it fully. She has something very special, yes, because she can be moving, not being cheesy. She can be sexy, not being just like fully, you know,
Yeah.
pretending. She's a man and a woman and a child in the same body. It's interesting. She's really like some piece of an actress.
Oh, she's absolutely superb, and you direct her so well. And I like the rest of your cast: Roschdy Zem and Chiara Mastra and Antonio, and the young girl who is the young girl that Virginie is interested in
Kelly,
as her
yeah.
substitute. Yes.
Yeah, her name is Kelly Ferreira Goncalves,
Ah,
and she's been an amazing little young actress. But I was very scared to work with children because it's work, it's not just fun. And so that's the reason why she's not the hero of the film, she's the subject of the
mm.
film. This little kid has been amazing. She was very funny because she would not do rehearsal. She was like, no, that's fine, it's gonna be fine, like just like put the camera on. She had like very, she knew exactly like how she wanted to play. And first I was kind of scared, and then I was like, okay, let's do that. I mean, she's good when I just like turn, the button on the camera. Let's do that. And it's been like a huge surprise to me. Truffaut said that working with actors, with child actors, is like working with an helicopter. It takes some time in the beginning, and then it's super faster at the end. It's just you put the camera in the helicopter. It's difficult. But then it's like so simpler, and you have like such a beautiful view.
Well done on that. And as I mentioned, Roschdy Zem is such a good male sort of counterpart to Virginie, and the relationship between the two, I think, is really nicely developed, especially with his as he plays a divorced man who's caught between two women in a sense.
I mean, two women, like his like new girlfriend and his daughter, because the other woman, maybe if you see the film, like may have like another place. But I've been working with Roschdy Zem. It's not my first time with Roschdy Zem, and I must say that it's funny because when you look at the film, it's definitely a woman's portrait. But the first actor that jumped in the project was Roschdy, because originally I didn't want to make this woman's portrait about being a stepmother. I was shy to do that because it was too close to me, and I
Mm.
felt like a kind of I was ashamed probably to do something so personal. And the first idea was to adapt a novel about male impotence. And Roschdy was super happy to do that. He told me like, yeah, let's do that. Because, this actor, he's such like a beautiful, very athletic actor in his 50s. And everyone projects a strong masculinity in him. As we say, maybe Marcello Mastroianni, in the 60s in Italy.
Mm.
And as Marcello Mastroianni did with Le Bel Antonio, Roschdy Zem was really like willing to change and to break this idea that he was projecting. So he really wanted to do something else. finally the film became like, the history of Virginie Efira and not his. But there's still like, resonance of this like first project we had in the film at the end. So that's the reason why I feel that just depicting him as a lover and as a single father, for instance, is something that we've never seen with him on screen. And he's an amazing, like, soft actor, not the guy like athletic Arabic guy that people usually, project very like archetypal things on him. And I think he liked doing that. He liked being like naked under a shower and just being looked at by a mistress that was looking at him like as an epiphany and feeling that his body was beautiful. So this was the kind of things that we wanted to do.
Oh, well,
And I'm
again,
just like, hiding from the sun, excuse me,
yes, sure.
because I have a very sensitive skin.
Ah, I understand.
But yeah,
I should call this Travels with Rebecca, but anyway,
yeah, yeah. I
very
mean, I
nice.
come from Poland. I did all
I
this
thought
work
you did.
from Poland. Yeah.
Yes, I thought with the name that you were Polish. Anyway, that's, how lovely. So, in in terms of the final version of the film, did you do any changes along the way, or were there any developments as you were filming that you decided you wanted to change anything?
No, this film has been like, sometimes the films have secret paths, but some of them are very like just like, direct. And
Yeah.
I would say that this one has been like, and usually I write like not only by myself but with people like collectively. This one has been like, crafted in a very specific moment that was like the post-COVID moment in France, and like even during the confinements. So for instance, I had the entire city was absolutely empty. It was such like a weird experience and a very nice, I must say, experience, because I'm very control freak when it comes to, doing the frame. And I could just like put everything I wanted in the frame and erase everything else. So the problem was that there was no life in the city and we had to recreate it. And when you watch the film, you feel that the city is like just, random, and it's just like a place you take the subway and then you cross streets and you go in cafes and you're in restaurants. And it was part of the pleasure of filming my own city, which is Paris, and it's such a beautiful city. But also we had it like as a studio. It was like a Cinecittà in a way, so it was interesting. But with the writing has been like very direct. I wrote the film like very, in a movement, like without taking a breath. We financed it very quickly because, like, it was a moment where we could still shoot films. And it was the good moment to have an echo with this kind of topics and subjects. And people felt related to that. And I was surprised by the way that it was, financed so fast. I was like expecting like more difficulties, but it was like very, it was such a pleasure to finance it like so fast. So we just shot it like in the next month, and I didn't change like, it's been like very written, and the actors jumped in and never wanted to change the dialogues. I was like, just change the lines if you want, and they were like, no, let's do it like that. I don't know, it's been just like this kind of film that has been like easy to craft. And I must say, like, sorry, I know that sometimes we should say the opposite so we can like, have the sympathy of the audience. But I just followed like a very simple path. The father who plays the father of Virginie Fira is my own father. He was very available. He was very nice to me. He was very cheap to hire. And the places I'm filming are places that I know by heart. The cemetery is a cemetery where my mom is buried. The places that the character are, walking through are the cafes I'm having my. So it was this kind of project where I didn't want to be fetishistic about filming things for what they are, but it was also simpler to go in the places I knew very, very, very well. So maybe the film has like this kind of perfume of something very seen, because yeah, it's very familiar to me.
Oh, well, again, well done on that. And so you delivered the film and you also delivered your own child.
I did actually. Yeah, it's a very fertile subject to me. It's been a very fertile. I was not. I mean, like obviously the film, is an answer to a strong fear that I had at this moment of my life. That was, I was not having children. I mean, I was just like figuring out that it would be my life, and I wanted to address like the solidarity letter to the Rebeccas in the world that would be like in my situation. I would be a stepmom, a happy stepmom, and not being able like to have my own family in a way, or to have like my own family, but in another pattern that was not traditional. And then boom, when I, prepped the film, I fell pregnant. And it was such like, first, it was a very, very good um, uh, sign to me. It was a very good novel to me, news to me, good news to me. But also it created, I think, the good distance with the film, because I was not anymore this hero. I was not anymore the heroine of the film.
Mm.
It was not, I wrote the film in a certain like state of, I would say, pain, and I did it and I crafted it in a very, light and happy moment. And also when you're pregnant, people are very nice to you, which is good.
What a lovely outcome. I know I must conclude, but I do want to ask you, Rebecca, are you working on another film at the moment?
I do, on a film and a TV series, but it's not by culture of secret that I'm not talking about it. It's just that it's too soon to say
Yeah,
anything about it.
sure.
But yeah, I'm writing right now.
Well, look, congratulations on Other People's Children. It's a really lovely film, and I certainly recommend my
Thank you
audience to
very
go
much.
and see it. And we've been speaking to the writer-director, Rebecca Zlotowski. Rebecca, thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for talking to me. Bye.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.